I have a confession to make. I love art. And I don't mean just the type of art that you would find in a gallery or that comes with a prestigious name such as Van Gogh or Frida. No, I like all types of art. Even the art that you see on mom's refrigerators. The art that are just splashes of color, and no matter how long you look at them, you can't quite decipher what it is. But what many don't know is that these small children have managed to produce one of my favorite types of art: abstract art. Another type of art that I really love is called pointillism. Now, what I love about the pointillism technique is that with just a series of dots and overlaying of different colors, you can manage to produce something that is extremely beautiful and yet can be done in a very simple manner. So simple, in fact, that anyone can possibly reproduce an incredible piece of pointillism. And it can even be done with pen. So really, you don't need abundance of color to produce something that can be called beautiful. With pointillism, even something in black and white can be extremely beautiful. Now, another type of art that I also really like is called watercolor. What I love about watercolor is that it is extremely delicate, but yet, even though with such a delicate sense of technique and atmosphere, you can still produce something that is hauntingly mesmerizing. Which brings me to the next art that I like: acrylic paint. With acrylic paint, you can see it's a lot thicker in consistency, but it's that thickness that gives dimension and value. Acrylic paint is great for beginners because you can kind of just plop it on the canvas and manipulate it into whatever you wish. Now, if you desire to produce something that doesn't require much technique, then charcoal pencil would be for you. Charcoal pencil is different from regular pencil in that the consistency is thicker, so it holds a lot better on paper. And you can develop better contrast, which helps to produce something more realistic, as you can see. Now, if you really don't like black and white and you prefer color, then markers is the way to go. It doesn't matter if it's Crayola washable markers or special art markers, you can produce something colorful and beautiful regardless. You can capture the beauty of the world with the colors it's made up of and drown in its brightness. You can also produce art that has color but isn't necessarily bright, like Van Gogh's Starry Night. You have color, but because it's made with oil pastels, it tones down the color, managing to give you a not as vibrant piece of art, but no less beautiful. Now, if seeing all this art makes you want to recreate it, but only have colored pencils, well, that works too. The nice thing about colored pencil drawings is that even a donut can be drawn and colored in a way that it is extremely realistic. You don't really need special art to make it realistic or to make it beautiful. That's what I love about art, is that art is attainable. However, something that requires a lot more technique but is easy to learn are oil paintings. Oil painting is different from watercolor in that it's thicker, but different from acrylic in that it's not as thick. So if watercolor is too hard for you to manipulate and acrylic is just too hard for you to handle, then maybe oil paintings is better for you. Which brings me to ink drawings. Ink drawings aren't that popular in the US like they are in Asian countries. Although similar to watercolor, the technique required is different because of the special brushes needed. But no less, it's one of my favorites. Now, how many of you growing up drew on sidewalks with chalk? Chalk drawing has become a recent phenomenon and has become loved by people because they can interact with it. It's basically like hopscotch, but elevated. And the nice thing about this is that it can interact between the artist and society, which is why it's been a favorite among people. In high school, a style of art that I really enjoyed was mosaic art. Mosaic art is easy and attainable for beginners because you can just simply print out a picture and then with ripped up pieces of paper, you can just glue it on there and you produce something that looks like it required a lot of technique, but it's further from the truth. However, spray paint is something that does require a lot of technique. So much so that I myself haven't attempted to do it. Nonetheless, it has become one of my favorite styles of art, and I think you can see why. Compared to all the others, the consistency and smoothness is just incredible. Now, this may look like the mosaic art I showed you 2 slides back, but it differs in that it's stained glass. The first time I saw this style of art was when I was really little and my mom was driving by a set of church doors, and it made such a huge impression that I have loved it to this day. Now, some may think that art can't possibly get any more creative, right? Wrong. Rock art is a new style of art that I recently have been experimenting with. All that's required is looking for a smooth rock or pebble and then just drawing on it. And you don't necessarily need to do something as complicated as this. You can just splash it with color and you'll be surprised with how beautiful it looks. This is what I love about art. The possibilities are infinite. Now, just with drawing or the medium you use or even the style chose, that isn't what is art. Art is honestly everything. It's not based on a set of rules or right or wrong. It simply is. Anything you put yourself in automatically becomes art. It's your self-expression, creativity, and individuality. It encourages all of us to give us a break from the real world and have an outlet. It's almost like an escape from everything. This is what I truly love about art. So I encourage you to try it. Don't think about technique at first. Simply grab colors without much thought and let your hand and mind reflexively do what it wishes. Anything you produce in the end will be beautiful because at the end of the day, it's a piece of yourself.